The actual application of it is where you can get really creative. So don't leave the video. I want you to actually see these examples in action. What's up, you guys? Nathan Larsen here with another video for those of you guys who make music at home, whether you're a composer, producer, artist, songwriter, if you write and record your own music at home, this is the channel for you. If that sounds anything like you, you should click subscribe and hit the bell for notification right now. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how you as one person can create gang vocals. Now, gang vocals, or making one person sound like a big group of people, however you kind of wanna say it. So what I'm gonna show you is, first off, how to do this and how to create the effect from scratch. I'll actually show you building it. And then I'm gonna show you 3 examples of how I actually use this in my own sessions so you can see a few different creative ways of actually applying this. But if you like the video in the meantime, make sure you click like. That helps me out a ton. It's 100% free, and make sure that more people have an opportunity to see this video. So we're gonna just jump right into the DAW. Okay, so we're in the DAW now, and the very first thing I wanna do is show you how to actually do this. And then I'm gonna show you several different examples of how I actually implement this in my productions. So the song that we're gonna listen to here in just a second is the one that I did in Writing a Song in 35 Minutes. This is just like the acoustic demo that I created some gang vocals to demonstrate with. So very first thing I wanna do is show you what this sounds like. First and foremost, there's no pitch correction happening on these gang vocals. That's one of the things I would do that I haven't done yet. So let's just take a listen first.
Tell me, was it all my fault? How could I not see this fall apart? Can we take another shot? I promise that I'll stay and fight for us.
Okay, so that's what it sounds like. The way that you actually do this, and you can see the tracks, the number of tracks that I have and whatnot. But basically, in this example, I did a 2-part harmony with 3 on the top and then 3 on the bottom. So in terms of what you do as far as how many harmonies you have and whatnot, you have a lot of options. You can ultimately decide for yourself, I want to have 3 parts or 4 parts or 2 parts or maybe even only 1 part or maybe 2 parts that are just in octaves. There are a lot of choices. So the first thing I want to do is just show you what the gang vocals sound like soloed. So that's what it sounds like by itself. And obviously, like I said, 2-part harmony, really, really basic. I'm just doing this on a vowel sound. Now, the way I typically do this is as I'm recording and tracking, I determine how many layers I need based on the effect that I'm going for. So in this particular case, I didn't really need this super, super huge sounding thing. I wanted it to sound like multiple voices, but I didn't need it to sound like bigger than life in your face. So this is where you can really get experimental. With only 2 voices here, like this, it's gonna sound like 2 voices. But once you add 3 voices, it starts to sound like more. And then of course, once you add these other voices down here, this is the bottom part, then it's gonna sound that much bigger. So by just adding on top, you're gonna get a lot better of the sound that you wanna go for. Now, in this case, I use kind of a breathy tone, and it all depends on what you're going for as far as how you wanna actually track this out. So it really is as simple as record it multiple times over. And as far as performance goes, you have really 2 choices. One, you can really try to perform the exact same to get a very unified sound. But if you want it to sound a little more raw, if you want it to sound a little more gritty and more realistic, as if, maybe like you want to shout kind of chorus, then you're going to want to make every single performance really unique in terms of like tone and like vibrato and all that stuff. But you're going to want to make sure that if you have any consonants at the beginning and the end of words, those things you're going to want to have line up, because you don't want any weird like T's and stuff or like, So obviously in this case, it's just vowels. I'm not singing words. So it's a lot more basic. I'll be showing you here in just a little bit an example where there are actually words happening. So the next thing is panning. You really have multiple options here as well for panning. For the way I did this, as you can see, I did hard left, hard right, and then the center for both different parts. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take this and put all the panning right down the middle, and we're gonna listen to this with no panning. Here we go. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is actually pan like how I had done before, which is each voice is going to be panned hard left, hard right, and the center, so you get this wider sound. This is what that's gonna sound like. So that's option one. Of course, you could just have everything in the center as well. That's another option. The other one is to put each individual voice on one part of the stereo field. And so this sounds a little bit more like, you know, in a choir, you might have all your sopranos in the left, you might have all your basses in the right, or something similar to that, depending on how you want your whole choir set up, if you're actually thinking of the traditional choirs. So what I'm going to show you is what that would sound like by panning things and spreading them out, where all the high voices are going to be on the left. Oops. All the high voices on the left, and all the other voices are going to be on the right. And what I'm doing is kind of doing one hard, one in this kind of like halfway, and then one like a quarter of the way. Now this is what that's going to sound like. Cool. So now I want to show you what that one sounds like in the context of the lead vocal and piano.
Tell me, was it all my fault? How could I not see this fall apart? Can we take another shot?
Now, for me, I personally really like the idea of the first one, which is every single one is spread out.
Tell me, was it all my fault? How could I not see this fall apart?
This feels much more balanced to me personally. Now, this is going to be a personal preference. Now, as far as processing all of this, I have this all sent to a summing track stack. So this is basically like sending everything to a bus. So there's no processing on the individual, as you can see in here. There are no plugins. So I had this sent to a track stack, or basically a bus, and then I have basically removed all the low end, did a little bit of a cut at 200, and then I compressed it a little bit, and then added another EQ, and then I used that to bump up the highs, and then I sent it to QL spaces, and then another QL spaces. This one is bigger reverb. This QL spaces here, it's a 5.2 second reverb, so really big. This other one I think is like, yeah, 1.8, which is the same one as the lead vocal that's in it. Here's what that would sound like without any of those reverbs. Actually, you know, let's just take all the plugins off so you can hear just 100% dry. Okay, so let's go ahead and add all the plugins in. I'm gonna add the EQ, compression, and the other EQ, but no reverb. Now let's add those reverbs. Now, on the big reverb, you'll notice here that I bumped up some of the highs and took out some of the lows. So I did EQ out that reverb. So it's really that simple as far as actually creating this. So again, just to kind of recap on the how, literally you would record however many times of the exact examples that you want on top of itself. It is that simple. And then performing it either the exact same to get a unified sound, or performing it different to get a little bit more of a unique sound. So what I want to now do is pull up 3 other projects to show you actual examples. And this is where it gets good. So the how is the easy part. The actual application of it is where you can get really creative. So don't leave the video. I want you to actually see these examples in action, because I think this is really going to give you some inspiration on other ways you can use this in your own productions. Let's jump into the first one. Okay, so the very first example that I want to show you is in this track that's a lot more like serious, kind of impactful type of a track. What I want to do is show you this chorus here. So here's the lead vocal. And then here are, I had in this track stack my gang vocals. And so you can see here, I don't actually have that many layers that I did. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. And I do it again here with only 5. I'm gonna show you both these examples because they're both different. So what I wanna do first is just show you this whole chorus with everything, and then we'll kind of solo things out.
I will rise from the ashes. I will stand on my own 2 feet. I will run from this prison.
Okay, so that's the example that we have. Really awesome, powerful kind of a deal. So what I want to do is solo out these vocals, the gang vocals here, and show you just how these sound. So this was more of like a chorus kind of, like choir kind of a thing with oohs, and this is how this sounds soloed out. So really simple. There's only 2 parts. So this is only 2-part harmony. I did 3 of each. So you can see I have like, this is the low harmony and looks like I've got my high harmony here. But what I want to show you here now is what this would sound like without the gang vocals, because it's really pretty subtle in this example. So I'm gonna mute out the gang vocals, or I'm gonna play them, start it with the gang vocals, and then I'll mute and then put it back in, back and forth. So you can hear how much of a difference this makes.
I will rise from the ashes.
So this is with it on.
I will stand
I'll take it off here.
on 2 feet. I will run from this prison.
So just notice how much more empty everything became the second I took that out. So there are lots of different ways of using gang vocals and kind of these bigger, quote unquote, like choral type vocals. And the way that I'm using it here is to add space and depth and to add that kind of shimmer that I wanted. It's like a pad. So let's skip ahead. I do it again here, but this time I actually do it where it's not just ooze. They're actually, and I say there, Anna is actually singing all the melody, the lyrics instead of just doing ooze. So here's just that last chorus here. Okay, so what I want to do is just solo out all of the vocals here, and here's what this sounds like, including the lead vocal. Boom. So you can see it's just essentially doing these like almost, it's just chords essentially. So the parts here, I'll just show you this, what it sounds like without that lead vocal. So there you go. So by doing that, it adds a little more energy, it adds more dynamic, and just adds a lot more of that kind of flair that I wanted in that final chorus to really take us to the finish line by differentiating the first set of gang vocals with the second and the final chorus. So this is also, you can use this to make your arrangements that much more dynamic as well. So let's jump into the next example. Okay, now this example is quite a bit different because this example is a lot more in a heavier kind of like rock style, but you have the gang vocals right here. Again, I have it in a track stack. There's a little bit more going on here, and then I have it again at the end as well. So what I want to do is show you, let's go here. I'll just show you the whole thing first and foremost, and then we'll solo things out.
I'm feeling loud. Let's crank up the sound. I can't stop this driving beat. Now I'll sing to the crowd. Let's turn up the sound. I can't stop this music.
Okay, so first of all, man, this is a pretty old project. It's kind of funny listening to stuff you did a long time ago. I would totally redo the drums on this. Anyway, I want to show you the gang vocals soloed out here with the lead vocals. So basically all the vocals here are going to be soloed out.
I'm feeling loud. Let's crank up the sound. I can't stop this driving beat. Now I'll sing.
Sweet. So you've got the, this is really, I love this, this example. So here's just the background vocal or the gang vocals. So this is actually a 3-part harmony. And yeah, you've got like, it looks like 3 of every one of them. So 3 of the lows, 3 of the mids, 3 of the highs. So that's the next one. We got one more example for you. And here is the final example I'll show you, and then we can kind of talk about it. Now, actually, I'm looking at this and I realize these lead vocals are not done. In fact, I think I need to totally redo them. So this is a song I did a little while back and never finished, and I need to finish it. But anyway.
This promise is forever. This promise is forever. Nothing now. Forever now. This promise is forever.
So you get the idea. I'm going to mute that vocal since I don't even think there's any correction on that one yet. Anyway, so I'm going to kind of show you what this is. And this one is a lot more like out in the front. So this is a lot less like subtle. I mean, this is not subtle at all. And then I kind of add layers in. So you've got this whole thing here. Boom. So just like that. So with this example, I obviously have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 examples. I think I just did it however many times I felt necessary for it to sound the way I wanted it to sound. And then I added that higher vocal, which this one I only added 3. So I must not have really felt like I needed that much more, because the higher vocals, a little louder and more punchy and stuff. So again, this is kind of what it sounds like with the lead up. And then it just repeats there. And just so you guys know, on examples like this where it repeats, I sometimes will literally just copy paste, because something like a gang vocal, you don't need to have these like totally unique different versions, especially since I ended up adding this top vocal on there. So you can save yourself some time on editing as well. And then you kind of heard it. I had this little deal in here right there where it's literally like just cool little add in. Just adds a nice little flavor to it. It's like, yeah, come on, let's do it again. Let's build this thing up. And then I do it again here at the end with the final chorus as well. So again, I'm leaving the lead vocal off for now because it looks like I never even finished that.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos I upload on a regular basis, and make sure you keep up to date on the community posts. That's where I'm gonna be asking you guys what videos you wanna see. You can chime in, share your thoughts, and I'll be providing some really cool insights as well. And if you like the video, make sure you just absolutely just demolish the like button. I don't know why people get so crazy about it, but just, click the like button if you like the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.